Today we're going to talk about logic models. Despite its somewhat off-putting name, logic model, the logic model really is nothing but a recipe. And the reason it's called a logic model is because, as with the theory of change, the idea is that one piece of the logic model connects logically or causally to the next. So take a look at this slide. And the first thing to look at in a logic model is look at the outcome on the right side. This is what you intend to have happen, and in fact, the intended impact statement, which we've been spending time drafting, goes on the outcome side of the logic model. But now let's go back to the left side. The inputs are the same for many different organizations pursuing many different strategies. It is the assets that the organization has. It has funding, it has personnel, and in our case, what's really important is it has good relationships with the community. The activities and outputs are what the organization does and how it delivers them. Both activities and outputs are things that happen within the organization. People do things and then they produce deliverables. And the goal of all of this is to lead to the outcomes. You can think of a logic model in terms of a factory. Imagine a steel mill. So the inputs for the steel mill would be the raw ingredients, coal and iron ore and limestone. And then the activities the steel mill engages in is heating the materials up in a blast furnace and going through various stages until you reach the outcome, or an intermediate outcome you might call it, which is fabricated steel. But if you think about what the goal of the owners of the steel mill is, their goal is to make money. So from their point of view, the ultimate outcome of the steel mill is money, analogous to the ultimate outcome for our social enterprise, which is to make the lives of homeless people better. We're now going to look at three logic models, each one based on the intended impact statement and theory of change for the three different approaches we're taking. Let's begin with the intended impact statement and theory of change for street interventions, and then look at the logic model. The intended impact statement involves providing on-the-street care with the goal of reducing health problems and other problems for the homeless. And the theory of change is that by doing this, it will lead to better outcomes, although it will not prevent homelessness. Now let's take a look at the logic model. Once again, start with the right-hand side. The outcomes here are better health, lower rates of substance abuse, greater employment, higher self-reported quality of life, and also improved public safety. Then turning to the left, the inputs are the same ones I described earlier, basically the resources that the organization has. What activities will the organization engage in? Something that's really important is to establish a presence on the street that's trusted by the homeless client and establish service delivery centers. The outputs that the organization provides are outreach and engagement of the chronically homeless, physical and mental health drug abuse services, drop-in centers, temporary shelters, and emergency food. Notice, if you compare the logic model to a recipe, it's a pretty high level of generality. The recipe would tell you how long to cook something and at what temperature. Here we're really just giving you a general sense of what the activities and outputs are. When the organization actually begins implementing the strategy, it will have to go deeper, but at this level, it already gives you a sense of the sequence of events you need in order to achieve the outcome.